Well, isn't this typical? I mean, right when the show starts. And by the way, welcome back, folks. Good to be back with you here, Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network. Excellence in broadcasting, 3 straight hours, dead ahead. Telephone number 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. And the email address, lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. I mean, right when the program starts, 1 minute before the program starts, there goes Obama. Has Obama been on TV the last 3 or 4 days? Has anybody seen him? Don't ask me. I mean, I literally don't know. So tell me, have you seen Obama on TV? So 1 minute before this program starts, the guy goes out there, and now he's explaining, I don't know what. I'm going to have to wait for somebody to tell me what he's talking about. All I can do is, well, no, I don't know that it is the usual stuff. He's making a tax proposal. He wants to do something right now and then move this fiscal cliff stuff later. He wants to do something right now that involves giving everybody a tax cut, even the rich, on the first $250,000 they make. Their rate will not go up on the first $250,000. Well, I'm glad he's mentioning that, because that's a fundamental point I want to address today as we get into the program. But he wants to do something that will give 98% of the American people a tax cut right now, or at least no tax increase, and then lollygag around for a while. So right when the program starts, just typical. I mean, they pay such close attention, they know when I am first back from a vacation and make sure to try to thwart it. Anyway, I was thinking, folks, I did take some time. I took some time off while I was gone, but I did, in the last couple of days, start paying attention to stuff so I would be moderately prepared for the program today. And I've been watching the discussion of Susan Rice and what's happening in Egypt with Morsi. In fact, you know, if I don't know if you noticed this or not, but if Obama had an older brother, he'd look just like this Morsi guy. Remember, he said if he had a son, he'd look like Trayvon Martin. I think if Obama had a brother, he'd look like this Morsi fellow. Did we not call that? How's that outbreak of democracy working? Now they're calling the guy the Pharaoh of Egypt, and a couple 100,000 people are back in Tahrir Square protesting, and all we're missing is our old buddy from CNN, Nick Robertson, over there asking the people what they think of Obama's love and devotion for them. Well, maybe he'll be sent there anyway, and we'll have a new round of Nick Robertson sound bites. But let's not think, folks, about Egypt being taken over by a Muslim extremist dictator who wants to be known as a modern-day pharaoh. The real problem that we face today, and everybody knows it, is the overt racism and sexism of the Republicans, who are still asking questions about Benghazi and Susan Rice. And by the way, the real thing about this Benghazi business, and why there is a continued interest in it, and what the real unknown answer is, the question with the unknown answer. You can talk all you want about Susan Rice going out and lying about the video being responsible and all of that. There are 7.5 hours where the President of the United States is not accounted for. That's what this really all about, as far as I'm concerned. We have a dead ambassador. We have 3 other dead Americans. And in the midst of this attack, nobody knows where the president was. I think that's the real question everybody has. You know, why wasn't there a response? Why wasn't there orders given? Why wasn't this? Why wasn't that? Where was Obama even engaged? And I mentioned this once 3 weeks ago. And Snurd is, well, what do you mean? You think he was asleep? I don't know. It could be something like, it could be he zoned out. It could be he didn't want to be involved. It could be he says, handle it. I don't care. But he wasn't engaged in this. And that's why the 7.5, 8 hours, whatever it was of this attack, that's the real unknown answer. Why were there no orders to respond? Why was the fact that this place was under siege not a big deal? Why was the fact that the ambassador was being in the process of being killed and 3 other Americans? Where was the president? And no, I'm not coming back singularly focused on Obama. I just think if that's the subject, Benghazi, I think that's one of the primary aspects of this whole thing is where was Obama? That's what everybody really wants to know. And beating around the bush to try to get it. But, you know, what everybody's really concerned about, of course, is the racism and the sexism of the Republicans and how they are doing everything they can to be mean as they can to Susan Rice. Anyway, the fiscal cliff, let me try to put this in perspective for you as well, in terms of what this is really all about. The fiscal cliff is theater. Nothing more and nothing less. It's a game of political chicken, folks. And it will result in a winner and a loser. The media will act as judge. They'll do everything in their power to influence the jury, which are the American people. Obama's already gotten his name written in ink as the winner. You understand that Obama is going to win the fiscal cliff. But it's a game of theater. There will not be any substantive entitlement reform. There will not be any spending cuts because there never are. There will be new enhancements to revenue with appropriate questions that people will not ask. But none of this fiscal cliff stuff has anything to do with solving the budget problem or any other fiscal problem that we have. The fiscal cliff and the fevered negotiations and the lame duck and everything going on, whatever Obama said just now, which I really want to find out because I got the sense there's something new he was proposing, and if I'm wrong about that, I need to know quick. Because he literally 2 minutes before the program began, he goes out there and starts this. It's probably nothing new. It's probably just more of the same with a different presentation. Probably a whole bunch of meaningless focus on protecting the middle class. Anyway, the fiscal cliff is not about long-term solutions to anything. The fiscal cliff is not about solutions, period. Not real solutions. What we have here is political gamesmanship. It is being played to secure power with the federal government in charge. It's all about who can maneuver who to secure and come out of this with a greater hold on power. It's not about solving anything budgetary. I mean, you're going to hear that it is. You're going to hear it's all about fixing the mess that we're in, but it's not about that. Nobody's going to fix the mess that we're in. Nobody's going to do what it takes to fix the mess that we're in. Obama is, he can feel it now. He can feel, it's within his grasp an amount of power that a president of the United States has not had since FDR, and maybe even including FDR. And it's right there waiting to be grabbed, and he intends to grab it. The Republicans will be fine with whatever they end up with. In fact, tonight, I was going to say, watching some of this stuff, try to get back in focus, back up to speed. I got an idea for the Republicans, because when you pull yourself away from here, and when you speaking for myself, when I remove myself from the need to be of a certain mindset to do this program for 3 hours at the highest level I can possibly attain each and every hour, when I remove myself from that and still stay in touch with what's going on, it's amazing to watch the Republicans beat themselves up. By yesterday, actually by Monday, the Republicans think that every Hispanic hates them and every woman hates them. Every minority hates them. I think what the Republicans ought to do, if they really want to get back into good graces, everybody, just based on the way I hear them talking, the Republicans ought to call a press conference and say, you know what? We don't even like ourselves either. We hate us. You know what else? We are opposed to ourselves. Now will you vote for us? Because that seems to be the theme here. That the problem in America is 200 some odd years. And by the way, it's an instinct that I've had since the first days of Obama. And it's taken hold. It's taken hold in our education system. It's taken hold in the pop culture. The problem with America is its founding. The problem with America is who founded it. And the problem with America is why those people founded it the way they did. This is an unjust and an immoral country. It's a racist, bigoted, sexist, homophobic country. And now we're going to change it. And now we're going to make amends. Now we're going to get even with all these people who've had all this power for so long to ignore people who they didn't like and to punish. And now we're going to get even with those guys. And it just so happens that the Republicans are the closest link that the Democrats have or can make with the evil founders of this country and the evil system that they set up. The mean-spirited, extremist, racist, sexist, bigoted system they set up called America. It's time now to fix that. It's time now to get even with all that. In fact, there was a guy, Goldfarb, in the I think it was the Washington Post. Now, it's amazing if you find the right stuff. No, it's perfectly fine to tell the truth about Obama. Yep, he's a redistributionist. And what does that mean? Santa Claus. Now, Obama is and always has been a guy who has seen this country as unfair and unjustly founded. And he's always seen himself as the guy who's going to fix it. And so they're on course now to do something drastic about income inequality, which, by the way, differs from wealth inequality. They are two entirely different things. And the reason why Warren Buffett is out there going on and on and on about supporting a tax rate 35% on rich people is because the income tax is the single greatest weapon government has to prevent the creation of wealth among individuals. The income tax does not destroy wealth. There is not a wealth tax, and you don't see anybody proposing one yet. But you don't see Buffett. You don't see any rich guys proposing a wealth tax. You see them proposing an income tax increase, which is designed to make sure that people keep less and less of what they earn so that they become less and less likely to amass and accrue wealth. They've got theirs. It doesn't matter. And while they come out in favor of tax increases, income tax increases, they're buying love and good vibes and all kinds of support with the poor and the middle class who think that people like Buffett and Obama and the rest of them feel them, get them, understand them. And so it's okay for Buffett to have what he has, and nobody's going to make a move to take his away from him. But Buffett will join the movement to make sure that you never have a chance to acquire what he already has. And that's the difference in a wealth tax and an income tax. And income inequality is not wealth inequality. And make no mistake, nobody's making a move here to take money away from the super wealthy and give it away. Not even Obama. What they're doing is making sure that people who earn income today are not going to be able to keep enough of it to get wealthy. That they will have to be forever dependent on government one way or another to get by. Quick time out. Come back with much more after. Well, no, I don't. No, I'm not. I'm not joking about Snurdly one of the fiscal cliff. What the way to understand this is J.R. Ewing negotiating with Gilligan of Gilligan's Island. With J.R. Ewing being the Democrats and Gilligan being the Republicans, not individual. But that's where this is. And it's what they're haggling about. If you really want to put this in terms that may be more easily understood, they're haggling over our private property. We have an absolute fiscal disaster that is being blamed on us when they are the architects. They are the people who spend all the money. Now, some of us are culpable because we demand the spending. Some of us, not me, maybe you, but many others have culpability because they demand some of that spending because they think they're going to get some of it. But it's a spending side problem. But this whole fiscal cliff thing is being done in such a way as to make as many people possible believe that it's the fault of people not paying enough in taxes. We have a fiscal cliff because people are selfish. Citizens, we have a fiscal cliff because the people of this country are selfish and are not paying enough in taxes. And we have a fiscal cliff in this country because the rich are selfish and they're not paying enough taxes. Let me give you a thought here before we go to the break. This government has spent trillions alone in the war on poverty, redistribution, trillions. Overall, since the mid-'60s, we have spent trillions of dollars to fix all of these problems. They do nothing but get worse, right? Trillions. How much are we talking about in a tax increase on the rich? Billions. 84 billion, 100 billion, whatever it is. Would somebody explain to me how raising taxes on people to the tune of 84 or 100 billion is going to matter when spending trillions prior to all this hasn't? Trillions versus billions. It is our private property that's being haggled over here. And we will not have as much of it when they're finished. And that's all you need to know about this. That's all you need to know. Our private property is up for grabs. They're going to get more of it when this is all said and done. And when that happens, we are still going to be blamed for the mess. Back after this.
This is the big one. Rush on the EIB network. For centuries, third world women have known the secrets of washing their clothes with materials that are close at hand. The Jupiter 3000 embraces this technology and uses only a half of a cup of water per load. The new Jupiter 3000 from General Eclectic.
So, how does it work?
Simply put 50 pounds of small pebbles into this hopper.
That's heavy.
Then crank this handle for 30 minutes per pound of laundry.
And it gets clothes cleaner than any other brand?
We can't make that claim, but it does use less water than any other washer on the market today.
So my clothes will smell the same?
Since the Jupiter 3000 uses only a half of cup of water and no detergent, your laundry will smell the same as it did when it went in.
Cool.
Act now and will include a gallon of chemical-free spring water, enough to do the laundry for 6 months for a family of 4. The Jupiter 3000, retro technology from General Eclectic. Look for the EW seal of approval. If you got a hankering for something a little bit on the wild side for dinner tonight, then you need to check out Girth Cafeteria. Girth Cafeteria, where you choose your favorite critter from our tank. Let us serve it up any way you like it. Then, while you enjoy your meal, we'll fashion its pelt into any one of a number of designer items. You might try our delicious raccoon-a-roni, or how about a nice hot bowl of chin chili?
I just had the muskrat. Delicious. And I got this great pair of gloves.
My kids and I had the turtellini. Got an entire set of neat salad bowls.
And if you like your critter really fresh, you might try our convenient drive-thru.
It's all right, honey. Just eat around the tire track.
And the kids are sure to love Girth Cafeteria.
Hey, Billy, how's that possum?
Awesome.
Girth Cafeteria. You choose it, we kill it. You wear it home. Next to the animal shelter on Highway 92. If you're looking for the real south of the border experience, then sneak into Los Elegalos and place your order today.
Whoa,
welcome to Los Elegalos. Can I take your order?
Yes, I want free healthcare, a job, I want to protest in the streets, and I want the entire Southwest U.S. returned to its rightful owner, Mexico.
Are you here legally?
That's none of your business.
And right now in Los Elegalos, you can try our new chicken soft border taco. With a tortilla so thin, you can see right through it. No ID? No problem. In the country illegally? No problem. Just cut in line in front of everyone else.
Jace, I'd like a La Raza tostada.
Hey, I've been waiting in line here for 10 years.
Hey, tell that to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi.
Bring the whole gang to Los Elegalos and order our MS-13 special. Order a dozen tacos and we'll throw in one free.
Viva Los Elegalos!
Wear your American flag t-shirt inside out and get a free entry.
That's entree?
Oh, yeah. Now open 24 hours in all border states. Arizona is subject to change. What could be worse than a dirty renegade cop with no respect for the law? The soiled senator who writes them. Harry Reid stars as Dingy Harry, Magnum Farce. The true story of a senator from Stoplight, Nevada, who magically becomes a wealthy real estate tycoon overnight.
So you'll help us with a vote as long as we cut you in for a sweet piece of the deal. Aren't you worried it will look like a payoff?
Go ahead. Make my day.
Soon, Harry moves up to become Senate Majority Leader, where he spends his time encouraging the troops.
This war is lost.
Advising General Petraeus.
This war is lost, punk.
Attacking innocent civilians.
We need to censor Rush Limbaugh.
This guy doesn't care if Congress does have the lowest polls ever. He's too busy shooting off his mouth.
It's the most powerful weapon in the world.
Sir, your foot.
It's okay. I've got another one.
Dingy Harry, Magnum Farce, shown daily in the Senate.
And we're back. Rush Limbaugh having more fun already than a human being should be allowed to have, and I do this each and every day. Behind this, the prestigious and distinguished EIB golden microphone. Now, over the weekend, a columnist in the New York Times by the name of Nicholas Kristof wrote a piece. He's all upset about the electrical grid failing in the Northeast during Hurricane Sandy. But that's not what made him mad. What made him mad was the reliance that some people had on private generators. He was upset about that some people had them and other people didn't. And here's the short version. According to David French at National Review, this is the short version of Kristof's piece. Low tax rates on the rich, plus a failure to deal with climate change, equals a decaying infrastructure, which increases inequality amongst the people, and the wealthy are able to opt out of public services and public utilities, and they're able to go get their own generators. And this is not fair, that some should have generators and others shouldn't. And it's all because of climate change and all because of the rich and income inequality, that some people had private generators and others didn't. And he made a whole column about this. Got to take a break. But this is going somewhere, so don't go away.
And now, Andy Griffith for Obamacare.
1965. A lot of good things came out that year, like Medicare. And now we got us Obamacare. And this year, just like always, you're going to have your guaranteed benefits right up until the time you get sick. So all you old angry white folks out there joining the tea parties and protesting and all, just calm down and be a good cracker. Good cracker. Tell them the new rules, Barney. Well, you see, it's like this. Here in Washington, everybody has to play by the rules. And we've developed a rule book just for you there at home. 62,528 new rules to help you through the process of healthcare in an orderly, organized fashion. Rule number 1. There are no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches allowed in any hospital day or night, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Rule number 2. If any named insured of a qualified plan gets sick, he or she must fill out request form 24/7.
For more information on Obamacare and how it affects those 65 and older, just get sick and you'll find out. For centuries, third world women have known the secrets of washing their clothes with materials that are close at hand. The Jupiter 3000 embraces this technology and uses only a half of a cup of water per load. The new Jupiter 3000 from General Eclectic.
So, like, how does it work?
Simply put 50 pounds of small pebbles into this hopper.
That's heavy.
Then crank this handle for 30 minutes per pound of laundry.
And it gets clothes cleaner than any other brand?
We can't make that claim, but it does use less water than any other washer on the market today.
So my clothes will smell the same?
Since the Jupiter 3000 uses only a half a cup of water and no detergent, your laundry will smell the same as it did when it went in.
Cool.
Act now and we'll include a gallon of chemical-free spring water, enough to do the laundry for 6 months for a family of 4. The Jupiter 3000, retro technology from General Eclectic. Look for the EW seal of approval.
Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels, Jihad Journal. I'm not kidding. This guy, Nicholas Kristof, this is mainstream liberal opinion at the New York Times, piece over the weekend, upset about the electrical grid being insufficient, failing, being knocked out of power, not just during Hurricane Sandy, but primarily then, but at any other time it goes down. This is not fair that some people aren't affected by it. They're able to go out and own private home generators to get through the outage while other people are unable to. And he claims that the reason that this is possible is that tax rates on the rich have been too low, which means the rich have too much disposable income. And with that disposable income, they're able to go out and buy private generators that they really shouldn't be entitled to have. It's not fair. Now, as I go through all this, you keep in mind, based on the election results, the American people agree with this. The American people signed on for this. The American people, maybe by a couple, 3 million votes, whatever it was, 51 to 48%, the American people agree with this. You don't get points for getting close. You don't get points for almost winning. You don't get points for losing, but not by a landslide. You'd be amazed. The people of California voted to increase their own taxes. They voted to raise taxes on themselves. The people of California are voting for what is happening there. And now we can say the people of this country are voting for what's happening here. So when the country at large, so when Kristof says low taxes on the rich are to be opposed because they are able to go out and buy things like private home generators, so that they don't feel the electrical grid outage, So it means we have to raise taxes, and also the grid failed because we're not doing enough on global warming. We're not raising taxes enough to deal with global warming. We have failed to deal with climate change. We don't have high enough taxes on the rich, and that means that our infrastructure is decaying, that there is a greater inequality of income among the people. And the real insult is that the wealthy are then able to opt out from public services. Now, in the old days, not too long ago, I remember where this is the kind of thing that people aspired to. People aspired to be successful, to earn enough money to provide themselves an increasing standard of living. And this provided motivation and inspiration for others to follow. Now, that's not the way it is in America anymore, and we're going to have to come to understand that. Success is not inspirational. Success is not motivational. Success makes you a target. Success makes you an enemy. Success means that you aren't playing fair. And I'm not exaggerating. At some point, we're going to have to understand what's happened here. And it's not the Latino vote that caused us to lose the election, and it's not the single women under 30 vote. And it's not all these other demographic things that resulted in Romney and us, the Republicans, losing the presidential race. Those are convenient excuses that are easy for the Republican Party to seem to address, which will not matter in the long run. We are losing far more in that. We are losing the American way of life. The American way of life is now targeted. The old standard American way of life is now seen as the big problem because not everybody can share in it. Not everybody has a fair shot at it. Not everybody will ever be able to participate in it fully. And so it's unworthy, unjust, and should no longer be allowed. And that's where the people of this country are. And you can sit there and tell me, no, Rush, no, they voted. No. The election, it's like Bill Parcells always says about an NFL team. You are what your record is. If you're 4-7, you are 4-7. You're not a maybe, 10-4. You're 4-7. You're 4-7. Your record is what you are. The country is what it is. The guy running for re-election, no bones about what he intends to do. And he certainly didn't hide what he intends to do for 4 years in the big picture. He got reelected. Certain things, folks, we're just going to have to... There is a deep resentment. Maybe a way to illustrate this. If in Hurricane Sandy you lived in the Northeast, and if you had one of these private generators, did you tell anybody or did you try to keep people from finding out? My guess is you shared the news with people you could trust and your friends, but you didn't want anybody else finding out. Not for fear they come over and want to live with you for a while, but for fear that you don't want to make yourself a target. Am I right or am I right? I'm always right. Even when I think I'm wrong, I end up being right. So we have a decaying infrastructure because we're not raising taxes enough on the rich to deal with climate change. We're not raising taxes on the rich enough because they've got enough disposable income to go out and buy these private. I mean, he wrote a whole column about this. In the old days of America, you'd have a situation like this, and the focus would be, what's wrong with the public utility? Why? What? United States of America 2012, there's no reason to have a 2-week outage after something like this. But no, a 2-week outage is totally understandable, and what's of note is that some people didn't have to endure it. And that's not fair. And we're going to go after the people who didn't have to endure it, who found a way around it. Look at all the things in this country now that are blamed on the fact that the rich are not paying enough in taxes. Look at everything that is being blamed on that. Education, Rich aren't paying enough taxes. Poverty. The war on poverty since LBJ in the mid-60s. Rich aren't paying enough taxes. Whatever the problem, that is the Democrats' solution. Raise taxes on the rich. And that won re-election. So we have to conclude that the majority of people also believe that. Now, we can sit here all day long and throw the logic of numbers at them, like I just said. Okay, look at Mr. Derelict Citizen, Mr. Gullible Citizen is buying into all this. We have spent trillions of dollars since the mid-'60s, probably already lost them at that point. We've spent trillions of dollars on wealth transfers. We have redistributed income to the tune of $7 trillion since the 60s to eradicate poverty, and we haven't done it. Same number of people, by virtue of percentage, are in poverty as when we started the program. Trillions. And how much money are we going to raise by increasing taxes on the rich? $84 billion, $110 billion, whatever. Well, how is that going to work? How is $100 billion in new revenue going to wipe out all of these inequities when trillions in 30 years hasn't done it? And then you realize it's not about any of this. It's not about wiping out poverty. It's not about, in fact, folks, the fiscal cliff and the Democrat, it's not even about economic growth. I saw Eric Cantor today standing up there giving the usual Republican spin. We're not for raising taxes on wealth creators. We're not for raising taxes on the job creators. We're not for raising taxes, people. We want a plan here that ends up with economic growth. All well and good, but Obama doesn't, and the Democrats don't. Economic growth is itself unfair, ladies and gentlemen, because not everybody participates in it. Economic growth, don't you know, is engineered by people who already have been rigging the game for 238 years. The economy is rigged to grow to favor them. And since not everybody will participate in economic growth, we're not going to have economic growth. What we're going to have is redistribution. What we're going to have is income equality. And we're not going to have income equality by elevating people at lower incomes. Oh, no. We are going to have income equality by taking away money from people who have higher incomes. We are going to raise taxes on the higher income people on the theory that that money will then be transferred to the lower income people. It won't. It will go to government. Well, I take it back. It will be transferred in part, not in cash, but in other benefits. But this isn't about economic growth. And don't anybody get caught up in the notion that that's what anybody cares about, particularly on the Democrat side. It's not about economic growth. It's about redistribution. It's about transfers of wealth. It's about destroying the opportunity to create wealth. It's about really putting immovable obstacles in the way of becoming wealthy. That's what really is taking place here. Every increase in the income tax is just that, an obstacle to the creation of wealth. How can you become wealthy if more of what you earn is taken from you? You can't. That's what this is about. The fiscal cliff is a golden opportunity for Obama and the Democrats to do what they have wanted to do since the first whiff of progressivism or liberalism wafted up their nostrils or into their mouths, whatever orifice you want to talk about. Whenever they began to sniff it, whenever they began to taste it, that is what they want. In fact, I mentioned a Washington Post piece, an economics reporter, Zachary Goldfarb. The bedrock belief that has driven the president for a decade is the power of the federal government must be used to reduce income inequality in America. According to Goldfarb, Obama formed this belief as a child and as a young adult while he lived abroad, where he observed, and these are Obama's words, the vast disparity in wealth between those who are part of the power structure and those who are outside of it. So, finally, what you and I have always known has now been admitted to in a Washington Post piece, that Obama is all about redistribution. He's not about economic growth. He's about punishment. Now, this is something you and I have been trying to tell people for 4 years, and nobody wanted to believe it. It's too nice a guy. How can it possibly be? Now the media is out, part and parcel, admitting. Here, in this piece in the Washington Post, this economics writer, Zachary Goldfarb, acknowledges, quote, although the stimulus was not sold or viewed as an attack on income inequality, that's exactly what it was. So was Obamacare, says Goldfarb. So the Washington Post has a piece that the stimulus was not what it was portrayed to be. It was an attack on income inequality, and so was Obamacare. He says Obamacare takes a shot at addressing income inequality by imposing new taxes on the wealthiest Americans, which it does. And the more taxes go up on people's income, the more obstacles there are to creating wealth. This can't happen. That's the objective. We'll be back.
This Christmas, make everyone on your list go with the new Quad Pack collection at paulshanklin.com. All 4 of Shanklin's hilarious parody CDs at one low price, plus free priority shipping. Available now at paulshanklin.com. Paul, SHANKLIN.com. You're listening to the EIB Network. Now, an urgent message from Albert Gore Jr.
My fellow environmentalist, recently my purchase of carbon credits from a company I own to offset my personal carbon footprint has caused some to question my true beliefs in the cause of global warming. Rest assured that any profits from the credits I purchased to offset my energy use will be used toward the purchase of more energy, which will require me to purchase even more carbon credits. My computer models have shown this synergistic approach will cool the Earth 0.65 degrees by the year 2068. But to do it even faster, I need your help.
To help cool the Earth even faster, send a donation to the Albert Gore Jr. Utility Fund today and help Al purchase even more energy and more credits.
It's like the circle of life.
Are you looking for a totally healthy choice in fast food? Then drive into the all-new Bun and Run.
Welcome to Bun and Run. May I take your order, please?
Yeah, I want a double with cheese, chili, and onion.
We don't have that, sir.
What about chicken nuggets?
No.
Sausage nuggets? Bacon nuggets?
We don't have them.
And ordering is simple at Bun and Run. We serve nothing but the finest whole grain buns with nothing inside.
Hello, I'm Sidney Klopp, founder of Bun and Run. My lawyer said this concept would limit our liability. I hope you enjoy my buns.
So for a healthy, satisfying meal, try our new Bun and Run today.
Okay, I'll just have the bun and some mayo.
We don't serve mayonnaise.
At Bun and Run, we serve just the bun with no unhealthy fillers. And you can have it your way, toasted or untoasted. Bun and Run, the healthiest fast food on the planet.
Nothing but the bun.
Bun and Run. Franchises available.
Hey, Bob. Cute car.
Yeah, it's my new 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4, limited edition. The first 4x4 to meet the new mileage standard. 37 miles to the gallon.
Ooh, limited edition, huh?
Yeah, they only made 3 this year to keep up with the demand.
Kind of small, don't you think?
Well, yeah, but it does get 37 miles to the gallon. Hey, careful. Don't lean on it too hard. The sheet metal's kind of thin.
Ooh, sorry. Let's go for a ride. Kind of tight in here.
Yeah, but my Ford Excuse gets...
I know, 37 miles to the gallon. What is that?
The optional Briggs & Stratton V2 engine. Only 12 horsepower, but it does get...
I know. 37 miles per gallon. Can you tow anything?
No.
Carry any cargo?
Well, but it does get 37 miles per gallon. You want to go for a drive around the block?
Oh, I don't know. What time is it?
3 o'clock.
Will we be back in time for dinner?
Good question.
The 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4. The future is coming. Now a message from President Barack.
Okay, to the phones we go. We're going to start in Loudon, New Hampshire. This is Larry. Great to have you on the EIB network, sir. Hello. Larry, you're there. He hung up, and nobody told me he hung up. Make me look like an idiot. There was never anybody. Larry in another. Is this Canton, Kansas? Larry, welcome to the EIB network. Hello.
Love you, Rush. Love you a long time.
Thank you very much. Love you too. Long time, and even longer.
Hey, Daniel Altman was making the media rounds and suggesting and proposing a wealth tax of 1.5% to start off with because he wanted to bring it in gradually.
Daniel Altman.
Altman, yeah, he's an economist. He was, I heard it over the weekend. He was saying it would boost economic growth for long term.
No. There's no economic growth. Actually, I shouldn't say this. Actually, I have a great fear there is going to be economic growth. Yes, but I'm just, let me, caveat here, folks, let me tell you something. The fiscal cliff, the Democrat Party, all these budget negotiations, this is not about economic growth. It's not what they are interested in. Obama doesn't care about economic growth. That's not news. What we have to realize is the American people don't either. That's what we have to realize. I can sit here all day long. I have yet to be wrong about Obama. From January 16th, when I told you I hope he fails, I've nailed what Obama is all about, what he wants to do. Where we all went wrong was we thought the American people would end up opposing it when they found out they support it. Well, people on the other side of the glass, no, Rush, it can't be true. I'm not sitting here living in dreamland anymore. I'm not going to sit here and live in fantasy land. I'm telling you, the American people voted for this. They voted for tax increases on the rich. They voted for it. That's what Obama ran on. They voted against success. That's what Romney epitomized. They voted against Romney. You look at the exit polling data. The one, there are two questions. Still blame Bush for the economy, but there's another one. Cares about people like me. Obama won that 81 to 17%. 81. Well, Romney's the epitome of success. He doesn't care about people. He's not inspirational. I don't want to be like Mitt Romney. I want to be like Barack Obama. I want to care. Whether Obama cares about him or not, doesn't matter. They thought so. The American people voted for policies that will not lead to economic growth. People opening Obama Christmas presents do not care where it comes from. They don't care how it's provided, and they're not interested in thanking anybody for it. This is what we have to realize. I'm telling you. But I think there could be economic growth in this country in spite of Obama and in the energy sector of this country. And then if you feel bad now, let me add to it, because Obama's policies will get credit for that growth when they have literally nothing to do with it.
Somebody has to have the guts to say it. Rush on the EIB network. Most Americans don't realize that kids are a real drag on the economy. And that's why Nancy Pelosi, as part of the Obama stimulus package, is releasing her new DVD, Don't Do It, with helpful advice from Nancy about contraception for young adults.
After you have applied the glue and the staples, take the condom and apply it to the cucumber gently like this.
Oh, let's just hold hands.
Okay.
As part of the recovery package, the Don't Do It DVD will be required viewing in fertility clinics nationwide.
Motherhood is a wonderful thing, but are you sure you want to bring another child into this world during a recession? What's its carbon footprint? Remember, if your child eats, somewhere another child goes hungry.
When Nancy's Don't Do It DVD is broadcast nightly across the country, it'll be guaranteed to give everyone a headache and couples more cash to stimulate the economy.
Oh no, she's pole dancing again. Let's just go to the mall.
Okay.
So if you're in the mood, try Nancy Pelosi's Don't Do It DVD, the most effective contraceptive ever. Do you have trouble being taken seriously?
How did you know?
Do you long for that certain special something lacking in your voice?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to make your average thoughts and ideas seem powerful and gifted?
Yeah.
Well, now you can have that confident, authoritative, God-like sound wherever you go with the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Obamatron Verberator Pro is the only portable reverberation device personally endorsed by Barack Obama because it's so simple to use. Just implant the tiny sensor.
Wait.
And you can set your Verberator Pro for any occasion. Choose from Stately.
Wow, that is different. I feel so presidential. I come before you today to ask you for one of those tiny umbrellas for my drink.
Canyon.
Hello.
And for large egos, Der Führermeister.
I have led the accounting department to new and greater heights.
This holiday season, give the gift that no one can forget, the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Verberator Pro is not for everybody on your list.
Some enchanted evening, you will see a stranger.
And may become annoying after a short period of time.
Looking good, huh? I'm talking about me.
Now a message in the public interest about
Okay, my friends, that's it for the first exciting, busy broadcast hour here of our return to the EIB Network and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. I will expand on these theorems that I espoused mere moments ago when we get back from the break here at the top of the hour, and we'll squeeze more of your phone calls in. Great to be back here, folks, and be back again before you know it.
If you feel optimistic and confident about the future, then you haven't read It Could Happen magazine, the magazine that helps you prepare for all the lurking catastrophes, like unwanted disease.
After I learned that mail carriers actually touch the handles of every mailbox in the neighborhood without washing their hands, I open my mail with tweezers now.
Learn what to do if there might be a gator in the pond. Avoid hidden everyday risks.
Now that I found out that statistically 3 out of 5,000 people of average height are a full 1% less likely to have household accidents, I bought these high heels.
Learn how to do your part in preserving our delicate ecosystem.
Because carbon dioxide is one of the leading greenhouse gases, I just sit real still and try not to breathe.
It Could Happen magazine is printed only on virgin, recycled, hypoallergenic, unscented paper using all natural Southwest Native American ink. Warning, 1 out of 1 million people who don't purchase It Could Happen magazine could be hit by lightning 3 times in 1 year. It Could Happen magazine on newsstands now.
Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily Attacks on the Infidels by Maureen Aldowd and Paul Alkrugman and Tom Alfriedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is Daily Attacks on the Infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels Jihad Journal.
You think she's adorable.
I'll just have a salad.
Because she's so fit and trim.
Make that half a salad.
But even if things go smooth on the first date, think twice before settling down. Married women are twice as likely to become obese.
Oh, and I'll have the rack of lamb for two.
Thinking of just shacking up? Women are still 63% more likely to bulk up when they cohabitate with the opposite sex.
And I'd like some fries on the side and some onion rings.
Feminist research originally believed the phenomenon to be an allergic reaction to men. But at Obesity Today, we went undercover to find the root cause of post-commitment bloating.
It's so hard to decide on just one dessert.
And why you should drop her after the first date. Don't let this happen to you. Read To Have and to Hold on those love handles in Obesity Today.
We'll just split the turtle cheesecake, the cream brulee, and the double death by chocolate. A la mode. Thank you.
Just in time for the 2012 election, All the President's Girlfriend, the new composite classic audio romance novel from America's heartthrob storyteller, Barack Hussein Obama.
The night we met, I used my standard pickup line. I'll bet you can't guess where I'm from.
You'll be fainting every time you hear about his new conquest.
The next morning, she rolled over and told me I was awesome and interesting, and that she wanted to stay with me forever because she loved me more than life itself. I responded that I would help validate her parking.
Feel the passion flow from the pen of this beloved Nobel Prize-winning author.
As she ran away crying, I knew that one day I would finally meet someone who would love me for who I was. And then, just leave me the hell alone.
All the President's Girlfriend, a composite classic audio romance novel, available now in the fiction section, where fine audiobooks are sold. Now that you know about the costly environmental impact of hybrid vehicles, are you ready for an environmentally friendly car that will always make you feel good about yourself?
Yeah!
Then check out the all-new Virtual 6000, the world's first carbon-neutral car. From the interior to the exterior, you'll agree it's a one-of-a-kind car that stands out from all the rest. And since the Virtual 6000 is made from sturdy, recycled cardboard, the options are unlimited. Need a sunroof? Just cut one out.
Well, what about safety?
Don't worry. The Virtual 6000 just sits in the living room, so you can pretend to go anywhere, anytime, and feel safe from the threat of SUVs. The Virtual 6000 uses no gas, no batteries. It's totally carbon neutral, and at only $20,500, it costs less than any hybrid around. The Virtual 6000 from Pretend Motors. Economical and environmentally safe.
Get out of my way!
Wow, another tough day in the market. Are you tired of all the risk? Want to invest in a sure thing? Then do what all my friends do. Invest in green jobs.
Be part of the green power revolution of wind, solar, and perpetual motion sweeping America.
I know what you're thinking. Investing in unproven technologies and startup companies with shaky finances is dangerous. But not if you're one of my close friends. Your investment is protected the Chicago way. Backed up by the full faith and credit of somebody else, the United States government.
Close friends are required to raise significant funds for the re-election of President Barack Obama. Only bundlers of $1 million or more will qualify for this exclusive offer. Act now to get in on this risk-free investment, guaranteed by the United States government.
In today's investment world, it pays to be one of my friends.
Paid for by friends to re-elect President Obama and what's left of the Solyndra Corporation.
Before the election, ladies and gentlemen, the media, the Democrats, were all hyping an economic recovery. It was slow, but the unemployment number was coming down, and we were finally trending in the right direction. The American people agreed, and I reelected Obama. They also told us that new home sales are starting to see some rebound. Not so fast. It looks like new home sales are stagnant. The media had hyped growth in that area. Greetings. Welcome back. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB network at 800-282-2882. So I checked the email. What do you mean, Rush? You think there's going to be economic growth in the energy sector? I have really been struggling with some things here, folks. And in terms of going forward here, I'm the mayor of Realville, and that's accepting various realities that are staring you in the face for what they are rather than seeing them and wishing it was something other than what it is, and even trying to make it something other than what it is. I remember back in the early 90s, Clinton's elected and promises to raise taxes and make them retroactive. And I predicted this would do irreparable harm to economic growth. It'd slow it down. The exact opposite happened. Now, it wasn't because of Clinton's tax increases that the economy grew. But the Democrats were nevertheless able to make the case for it, and so perception is reality. The reason the economy grew in the 90s was the table set by Reagan in the 80s. That was a genuine boom that had many, many years of a bounce to it. And not even Clinton's tax increases were able to stifle the ingenuity and the creativity of enough Americans who just didn't participate in all that and went out and created a growing economy anyway. And the same situation exists here. Now, remember the Clinton tax increases are credited for the economic growth of the 90s. And as far as the vast majority of American people are concerned, that's what caused the prosperity. We're going to have to accept some things here. That the feminist, for example, the feminist incursion into higher education and K through 12 education has mattered. Women today are not the women they were 30 years ago. They're just not. They're angrier. They're not as interested in relationships. All of that radical stuff that we laughed at and thought nobody in their world right mind would ever believe it, they do. And it's the same thing with every other radical aspect of the left. It has taken hold in enough people to either be a majority or close enough to it that given electoral turnout, Democrats can win on this stuff. All of this madcap stuff over the last 25 years that I've chronicled being taught as multiculturalism, we've laughed at it. Nobody's ever going to believe this. Enough Americans do believe a lot of this radical stuff in enough numbers to elect Barack Obama and re-elect Barack Obama. It's a reality that we have to face. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. You remember shortly after the election, the Republicans started wringing their hands over the demographics and how they all went against. They lost the Latino vote. They lost the Hispanic vote. They lost the single women under 30 vote. They lost the family values vote. And they started talking about what they were going to have to do to reclaim those voters. And I said, okay, I rhetorically asked some questions. Does that mean we now have to come out for open borders and immigration? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Yes, it is, Mr. Snerdley. You are in denial if you want to sit there. We talked ourselves into a myth. And that myth was that arriving immigrants were naturally conservative. They're not. They believe that the government is the great creator of wealth, provider of wealth, and guarantees the fairness of it all. They also believe that we've had our shot at immigration. We've had enough European immigration. We've had enough Asian immigration. Now it's our turn to immigrate to this country. And if you want our vote, you got to agree with that. I go so far as to say, if you really want to win the Latino vote, come out for no border. The new president of Mexico, the president-elect of Mexico, just came out and said he supports Obama's immigration reform plan. Obama's plan is basically no border. Now, if you're the president-elect of Mexico, why in the world would you support the U.S. immigration policy of Barack Obama, which is, you want in? Come on in. Why would you support that? Answer it yourself. Well, there's any number of answers. One is, yeah, I'll be glad to get rid of the people in my country who are in poverty so that I don't have to provide for them or take care of them. You could even go more radical and say, the United States was always our country in the first place. Could be any number of explanations for it. Family values. We are told that immigrants to this country are naturally Catholic and are going to agree with the conservative definition of family values. That's not apparently the case. The correct definition of family values is the government taking care of families. It has nothing to do with abortion. It has nothing to do with same-sex marriage. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has nothing to do with pro-life or pro-choice. It has to do with the government taking care of hearth and home. So if the Republicans want that segment of the population, that's what they're going to have to stand for. What do you mean we can't do that? Yes, all the Republicans have to do is come out and say, you know what? We don't like us either. Now vote for us. The Democrats told you that we're not worth liking and you didn't like Romney and didn't think Romney cared. Well, okay, we don't trust ourselves either. Take care of us. So vote for us. We hate us too. Can you just see that press conference? You see John Boehner, McConnell, calling president. You know, for careful consideration, we've decided that, and we looked in the mirror today, I don't like myself, and I totally agree with you on that. Well, look, some of this may be a bit extreme. Let's talk about the economic growth first. There's no, like this guy that the first caller was talking about this Altman economy wants a wealth tax. I looked it up. The guy's name is Daniel Altman, and he has a suggestion. Let's see, proposing something completely different on the tax front, a system that taxes wealth rather than revenue. It's not intended to raise more revenue, but rather to reduce inequality, which threatens growth. You see, we're only going to have economic growth if we take away the money from people who now have it. And until we do that, we can't have any growth. So my plan, a wealth tax, and we'll start small so that nobody opposes it, 1.5% every year on your total net worth. Now, nobody's proposed this seriously. This is some economist out there, but a wealth tax. Now, that's something I'd like to see Warren Buffett support. I don't think I'd ever see that day. He'll support income tax increases all day long. Because remember, income inequality and wealth inequality are two totally different things, folks. And you are being, well, not you because you get it, but I mean, the American people are being played royally on this. They think that raising taxes on the rich is going to prevent people from getting, well, it will prevent people from getting rich, but it's not going to take any money away from people who already are. It would require a wealth tax for that. But The point is, there is no economic growth being discussed in the fiscal cliff argument. The solution, there is no economic growth. It's not possible with what's being proposed. In fact, just the exact opposite. Obama doesn't care about economic growth. He cares about wealth transfers, redistribution, for all the reasons that we've discussed for 25 years on this program. Yet, in spite of all this, it's possible the economy could grow. Because like during the 90s, there still are a bunch of people in this country, industrious, entrepreneurial, who are simply not going to sit here and bite the bullet. It's not very many, but it doesn't take very many to pull the cart, as you know. Some people are going to say, the hell with this. I'm not going to sit here and just have everything I've worked for get frittered away. And they're going to go out and they're going to try to make something of themselves. Despite all these obstacles, they're going to go out and they're going to try to find new sources of revenue, income, wealth, success, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. They're going to do it. We're always going to have a segment of the population that'll do that. We're always going to have a segment of this population which will always believe in the America that was founded, that will always do everything they can to take advantage of the capitalism wherever it still exists. And the one area where there will be, I think, economic growth in our country is the energy sector. We see it in North Dakota, even in the midst of Obama's assault on capitalism. For the first 4 years of his administration, we saw an oil boom because of fracking, because of shale, and I know Obama's trying to shut it down, and the Democrats think it's unfair that some should make money, but it will be something that continues, because no matter what Obama does, and no matter what the Democrats do, the world cannot get by without energy. Just can't happen. No matter the rhetoric, no matter all the demagoguing about it, there will be the creation of new sources of energy or the discovery of current, sort of like oil and natural gas. And I believe it's possible that we could see, in spite of Obama, a growing economy, or at least enough growth in that sector to push the overall economy into a growth profile. And the thing that would be really maddening about that is that as far as the media and everybody else is concerned, Obama's policies would get the credit for it. Just like Clinton's tax increases mistakenly got the credit for economic growth in the 90s. So, and the tech boom, so will Obama's policies, which are designed to kill growth, get credit for it. And if you think you're mad now, wait till that happens, if it does. Now, you know as well as I do that there are enough people in this country who are simply not going to sit there idly by and let Obama ruin their lives. There are enough people who are not going to sit idly by and let the Democrat Party or this government ruin their lives. At least they're going to try to overcome it. It isn't very many, but it could be enough. And they may not be able to do it. Obama's policies may be sufficiently harmful enough that nobody will be able to overcome it. We shall see. But if there is growth in the energy sector or anywhere else that is sufficient to move the entire nation's GDP into a growth profile, then Obama's policies, the stimulus, Obamacare, all this other destructive stuff would end up, as far as the media is concerned and as far as the voters are concerned, getting credit for it. And then the job of telling the truth to the American people becomes even harder than it is now. And it's very hard now as things exist. But you go through all these things that the Republicans thought they're going to have to do to get the single women under 30. There are two things. There are only two things that can get the votes for the Republicans. One is men marrying these women so they're no longer single. and so that their lives provide what they want. If they stay single, then they're going to turn to government to provide what they want. And then the Republicans are going to have to figure out that in order to get the votes of those people, they're going to have to do what they want, which the Democrats have already laid claim to. They're just certain realities that come out of this election that have to be dealt with, have to be faced, actually, before they can be dealt with. I got to take a timeout. We'll do that, and we'll get back to the phones when we get back. Don't go away.
He didn't start it, but he'll be happy to finish it. Rush on the EIB Network. Now, Albert Gore Jr. with one more way you can save the planet.
Instead of driving, try riding your bicycle to work and simplify your life. If only 1 in 5 Americans did this, we would save 196 billion barrels of oil every day. Ride a bike created from recycled metal from a manufacturer that uses at least 50% solar or wind power. Instead of air, try filling your tires with CO2 by blowing them up with your lips, like a balloon, trapping this dangerous greenhouse gas. Don't forget to reduce your use of harmful plastics by going seatless. You'll be surprised at the results of taking plastic out of your carbon footprint. Be sure and wear proper earth-friendly attire. Create your own hand-knitted shorts from discarded dryer lint, gathered from the dumpster behind your local washateria. Create nifty sandals from newspaper and rubber bands and twist ties and pieces of string that you find along.
You're over time. We need to cut.
We can't cut it anymore. I won't have time to tell them how to simplify their life.
So why has the economy been so bad during President Obama's first term? It's no accident. It's economic sabotage. The new blockbuster hit from Axelrod Productions. Even as President Obama was being sworn in,
I, Barack Obama, do silently swear that I will uphold the...
Republicans were starting to sabotage the economy.
Psst. Hey, tank the economy. Pass it down.
Then they misled the president to further destroy the American economy.
So, you think I shouldn't worry about unemployment? Just focus on Obamacare, raise taxes, go crazy with regulation, and run up $3 trillion in debt?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, okay.
And now, they're recklessly forcing the president to cut government spending or else.
But if I cut government spending, old people will die, and polar bears will be cold.
So what?
Economic sabotage. David Axelrod says, it's the best thing we could come up with. Anthony Weiner says, no comment. And George Soros says, it's unbelievable.
And stupid.
Economic sabotage. The biggest conspiracy to hit D.C. since the Bilderbergs and the Queen of England stole J. Edgar Hoover's brain. Economic sabotage in select theaters and art houses everywhere. Now a message from the John F. Harry Stay in.
Okay, folks, Snurdly's beside himself. He cannot believe he's hearing me say what I'm saying. He says, I don't believe this. You've never joined a bandwagon before. What is this? Stick with me. Let me give you another example of what I'm talking about. The Cuban exile community in South Florida is one of the most conservative and reliably Republican voting blocs in this country. The Cuban exile community, they escaped Castro. They escaped communism. They escaped the nationalizing of their property. They came to this country and they became fervent anti-communists, anti-liberal, pro-conservative. Their children in this election, young voters in their 20s and 30s, voted overwhelmingly for Barack Obama. Chinese immigrants who escaped Mao and Deng Xiaoping and the communist regime of China, their children voted overwhelmingly for Obama. Let's take the Cuban exile community. The children of the Cuban exile community decided to ignore their own parents' life experiences. They obviously decided to ignore what their parents were telling them about what life is like under totalitarian regimes, and instead voted for a guy who they think is very close to them, or they are very close to, in terms of believing that America is the problem, and that it's America that has to be fixed, that it is America that has to be cleansed, that it is America that's impure. These are harsh, cold realities, but they are nevertheless, if you look at exit polling data and other information, you can document this stuff, at least as accurately, as closely as it can be. It means that the children of the Cuban exile community and of the the Chinese immigrant community were far more influenced by the American education system and pop culture than they were by their own parents. Their own parents were not able to overcome, to what end? I'm assuming they tried, but some parents don't care. But you have to assume that parents escaping a totalitarian regime spend their lives telling their children what that's like, so they would never want their children to have to go through that. And their parents, their kids, basically sided with the professors who are teaching them rather than with their own parents. So how to reach these people? The age-old question, where Snerdley thinks that I am joining a bandwagon. He can't believe that I actually said, well, if we want to get the Hispanic vote, we're going to have to basically, we really don't believe in a border, and it's our turn now, whatever, number of people, whatever. Yeah, that's what. I've got 10 seconds. That's why I'm pausing here. Let me take another break, and then I'll complete this thought and get back to the phones as I promised when we get back. Do not, and I know you won't, go away.
New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corrupting going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corrupting going on there, it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it, no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
So what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the Confederate flag.
I flew that flag, I flew it proudly.
That the
as far as I'm concerned, George Bush is the one who's got to explain it. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork flowing barbecue, a bunch of contributors, nobody he's ever met. Until we get going,
circles that Capitol building from day to day, day after day.
Nothing is going to get
Dueling Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold.
Now, a message of fairness from President Barack Obama.
To move our nation forward, we have often used affirmative action to right the wrongs of past discrimination. Now is the time to complete our nation's journey by ending discrimination of the ugly.
Studies show that the ugly are likely to earn 10 to 15% less than their counterparts at work. And the aesthetically challenged are shut out from some occupations entirely, like lingerie models.
I'm sorry, I'd love to hire you, but we don't have anything in your size. Ever.
Barack, did you hear this, man?
Yes, dear.
Movie stars.
What does Ben Affleck got that I don't have?
Well,
changing the law may even bring some social benefits beyond the workplace.
Mr. Flint, Miss Pelosi is here for the December issue cover shoot.
Oh, close it down. I quit.
For more information on how you may qualify for Anglo-American affirmative action, contact your representative or the nearest mirror.
Discrimination. It's an ugly thing.
Now, something new yet familiar to everyone. It's Ron Artest.
Hey, yo, fool. Stop with the old school rap and bust it with the now. You gotta do representing for me, Ron Artest.
Word up to all peeps, some fresh tracks been laying down.
What up? This Ron Artest, busting out with the soft with some old school oldies with a fresh twist. Ain't no suspension long enough. There ain't no fines that are big enough. Ain't no jail term long enough to keep me from beating on you.
And I really mean hits.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Gonna find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You better not be dissing me, yo.
Spreading the love.
Peeps all over the world, join hands, make a love train or beat your brain.
True warrior even does Streisand.
Peeps. Peeps who beat other peeps are the happiest peeps in the world.
Ron Artest does the oldies with a fresh twist and a clenched fist.
He's a jolly good felon, and I'm a jolly good felon. We are jolly good felons, and if you don't agree, you'll die.
Getting real.
Baby, 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 where did my pay go? Endorsements done left me now. I need me a new loan, you know?
Ron Artest, oldies with a fresh twist. From Concussion Records.
Yeah, we put the con back in concussion.
Available at NBA games and bail bondsmen everywhere.
True that.
To the immigrant community in 2012, family values is food stamps, student loans, forgiving mortgages. It is not pro-life, pro-choice. It's not same-sex marriage. That's not what it is. If you want to, you want to show me where we're winning? You want to show me where we're winning with those arguments? Show me, Snerdly. Where are we winning with those arguments? I'm merely trying to illustrate. Let's look at student loans. Student loan forgiveness. Why do you think Barack Obama nationalized the student loan program? Well, yes, so we get the college-age kids vote forever, but there's a more hideous reason than that. Barack Obama and the Democrat Party are constantly doing what? And I fully expect a lot of you to get mad at me over this, because at first you're going to misunderstand me. They are constantly pushing education, particularly going to college, on basis of what? That's the only way you can succeed. That's the only way our nation can grow. We need to close the education gap. We need people going to college. That's not why Obama wants people going to college. He wants people going to college. He knows they can't afford it. He knows they're going to have to take out loans, and the loans will be from him. And that means that those people are going to end up getting educations which, if his economic policies succeed, are worthless, because these policies do not promote economic growth. The more successful you are in Obama's America, the higher your tax rate, the less you will keep of what you earn. So what's the point? Now, follow me on that. What is the point of getting an education so you can earn a lot of money if the more you earn, the less of it you keep? And the guy pushing both is Barack Obama and his party, the Democrat Party. Look at what Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett said over the weekend that increasing taxes on the wealthy might not help the deficit much. He's right, won't. But it would boost the morale of the middle class. Okay, now what does that really mean? Exactly right. You boost, in America in 2012, you boost the morale of the middle class by punishing the upper classes. You do not boost their morale by inspiring them to get out of the middle class, because you are forever consigning them to it with your tax policy. Obama's income tax increase policy will forever consign people to whatever income bracket they're in now forever. Because the more they earn, the more they'll lose. Your money is your private property. The fiscal cliff argument is a debate over our private property. And at the end of it, the only question is, how much of it are we going to lose? Not how much of it are we going to reclaim. So here's Obama, the Democrat Party, pushing education. We need to invest in education, which we always do, we always have. Education does what? Well, it enables you to get a better job, which does what? Enables you to earn more money, ostensibly. But at some point, you're going to run into Obama's income tax rates and his policies, and you're going to be stuck, but you're going to be in debt. In some cases, $200,000 with an education that under Obama's policies are worthless, or is worthless. In education, it isn't going to matter. Particularly if you're going to get a degree in 18th century Greek poetry. And then where are you? You got no choice. Obama controls your loan. He can forgive it. He can not forgive it. He can make you pay it back. So in addition to your not acquiring any wealth, because the more you make, the higher your tax rate, the less you keep, you still have the loan debt. You're going to think about buying a house. Hello, Julia. You remember that cartoon? That's your life. We looked at that cartoon during the campaign. We said, who in the world wants any part of this? We looked at it and our common sense said, there is no way. This ad is going to hurt Obama. It helped Obama. It was attractive to an entire female voting bloc. Now I know what you're saying. I know what you're scratching your head. Rush, are you conceding everything to these people? No. Are you giving up? No. Do you think there's no way to change that? No, I don't at all. Conservatism is the natural solution to everybody's problems. But now I have a question for you. Can any of you? I've been talking about this ever since I got this program 25 years. Well, it'll be 25 years in August. Another hard, cold reality. We really have had, in the last 50 years, only 4 where we have made any inroads into the growth of liberalism. And that was first Reagan term. Okay, I'll give you the second. Look at 8 years of Reagan. But even then, we didn't reverse anything. We just slowed the inexorable growth trend toward liberalism. But we've never reversed it. All we did was slow it down. Reagan tried. Get rid of some government agencies, cabinet-level bureaucracies, and so forth. The effort was made, but it never happened. It's not an indictment of Reagan. I believe conservatism is the answer anytime it's tried. But aside from some people on the radio and a few on TV, can you name one in politics that can explain it, that naturally feels it, that naturally is conservative, that doesn't need a teleprompter or a notepad to make a speech about it? I have chronicled. We've talked about this too. I've noticed. I've pegged it to the death of William F. Buckley. A lot of people disagree with me on this too. I thought when Mr. Buckley was alive, he founded National Review. Buckley was the even though he didn't connect with a lot of average Americans. Intellect was in the spheres above us, and his work was done in the elite circles. But nevertheless, Reagan was a product of Buckley and vice versa. When Buckley passed away, he was a natural figurehead leader. And during his life, there were no assaults on Buckley like there are on other conservative media people today. When he died, though, when he passed away, every conservative that had a magazine or had a television show or a guest appearance or a column started angling to replace him as Mr. Conservative, the defining conservative, and that battle is still going on. And conservatism is in the middle of internecine warfare. Not to mention what's going on in the Republican Party. And in the Republican Party, you have people who will say they're conservatives, but they're scared to death to defend it because they're afraid of being called racists or sexists or bigots or what have you. It was easily predictable that if Romney lost the election, that the blame would be immediately assigned to conservatism and conservatives. Lo and behold, it was the easiest prediction in the world to make, and it indeed happened. Every Republican consultant under the sun started blaming every conservative in the media for the loss. Because why? Because real conservatives, it is said, establish the wrong tone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the wrong tone. Conservatives are mean-spirited sounding. They are all these isms, the racism, sexism, bigot, homophobe, and so forth. And it's Republicans who say this. Democrats naturally will say it. It's fellow Republicans. And in some cases, other conservatives who, attempting to gain ground for themselves, will throw others overboard or under the bus. Jay Nordlinger, National Review Online, has a piece called Impromptus. And he wrote recently about this whole tone business. People are saying the Republican tone is bad. He says, my ears must be tuned differently. I think the Republicans have it all over Democrats when it comes to tone. Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, John Boehner, Reince Priebus, Barack Obama, Biden, Reid, Pelosi, Debbie, Blabbermouth Schultz. It's the Republicans with the bad tone? Really? You didn't build that. We're going to put you all back in chains. Romneysia. Mitt Romney, he's not one of us. Romney. A lot of guy's wife to die. Romney. Felon. See, the American people didn't find any problem with that tone, folks. The voters didn't find a problem with the mean-spirited, lying extremism crap that came out of the mouths of the Democrats. Here's Harry Reid. He's on the floor of the Senate. He's lying through his teeth, claiming Romney failed to pay income taxes. Harry Reid speaks in the nastiest tone Washington, D.C. has. Joe Biden is second. Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz, she may be actually at the top of the list. Stephanie Cutter, the spokesbabe for Obama, says that Romney is a felon. In 2011, a Democrat strategist said that without a record to run on, they'd have to kill Romney, meaning Obama, the Democrat, have to kill Romney, and they did. They ran an ad accusing Romney of killing women with cancer. They ran an ad calling him an economic traitor. And then there was the Michael Moore ad in which he had senior citizens spewing profanity. If you ever watch MSNBC, you want to talk about bad tone? You want to talk about mean-spirited extremist tone? And yet, we're told if the Republicans have a tone problem. It's just like this phony thing that the conservatives and Republicans say, you better not be critical of Obama. The independents are going to like that. But the independents seem not to care that you call Romney a murderer. They seem not to care that you call Romney a felon. Or pick any other insult of any other Republican. It's fair game. And nobody ever says it's mean or extreme or in bad taste or in bad tone. But now all you got to do is say the word Chicago, and you're a racist. Now all you do is question the competence of Susan Ray. You're a racist. And so all this has led to a bunch of Republicans just scared to death to be conservative. Name one for me who is unashamed to be conservative. You might be able to, but name one. Outside of me, I'm not running for anything. I'm talking about they're few and far between, but on the other end of you got so many proud liberals, you can't count them. I got to take a break again. I'm way long here, folks. Don't go away.
You need the new digital Limbaugh letter. Free for a limited time only. Sign up today at rushlimbaugh.com. You're listening to the EIB Network. Now, you can drive your SUV guilt-free.
You can buy carbon offsets from EIB and continue to drive whatever you want to drive. Just don't change anything. We'll handle it for you.
Don't ask about the details.
Just trust us.
No need to change your affluent lifestyle.
We will take steps here at the EIB network to reduce carbon footprints so that yours can remain as large as you want it to be.
All this is yours for 4 easy payments of $25,000.
And all you have to do is pay us, say $100,000.
Hurry, this offer ends soon.
$100,000 and you can live guilt-free.
Watch the sitcom everybody in the media's talking about. Leave It to Barry, the daily story of that cute, cuddly kid who's wormed his way into America's heart.
Hey, mister, where's the office of the president-elect?
There isn't one.
Yes, it's always one laugh after another, with Tom Daschle as Eddie Hassel.
This is the best healthcare plan ever, 'cause it's only 1 page long. Double-spaced. Just sign here. We'll work out the details later.
Nancy Pelosi is the loving mother of the country.
Hey, Mom, can okay, never mind.
Harry Reid is the kindly old neighbor next door.
You tourists stink.
And Barack Obama as the Barry.
We will help people who haven't paid their mortgages by giving them another 90 days not to pay them. Blagojevich? Who's Blagojevich?
Leave It to Barry every day right here after Paulson and Frank, the odd couple. All across America, progressive teachers are helping children to sing alike and think alike. Now, you can get the album that started it all. Kids Songs of the Revolution.
These time-tested songs in the original German will bring our country's youth together to do great things. With songs like my favorite, One Leader Forever. Kids just can't stand still when they hear Hope is in the Air. They'll really be marching to a different drummer with the classic Change is Here.
Kids Songs of the Revolution. Available at Acorn, Ahmadinejad.com, and teachers' unions everywhere.
Kids, tell your parents to get yours today. before the economy collapses or healthcare implodes and the world burns up from global warming.
Kid songs of the revolution. Indoctrination hasn't been this much fun since 1933.
When I was 14, I had our
Okay, I'll give you an unabashed, unashamed, proud, confident conservative, Sarah Palin. Okay, but Michelle Bachmann. Maybe Rubio. Anyway, more on that. I want to get into some other areas. Have you seen the story, that woman that was embraced by Obama and Chris Christie after Hurricane Sandy? And Obama promised to sweep away all the red tape. Your phone call answered in 15 minutes. You call the bureaucracy to get help. That woman that Obama promised help has not seen a shred. None. Woman embraced by Obama after Hurricane Sandy hasn't received the help she needs. But that's okay, because Obama wants to help. That's how it works. The Republicans don't even care. Obama wants to. This is what we're up against. And it's the new reality. Obama has promised to give people all sorts of things. He has no ability and no intention of actually providing. He can't provide people what they are expecting. It doesn't matter right now. All that matters is he wants to, and they think he's trying. He cares about me. Romney doesn't. 17%. Exit poll. Scott Phoenix, great to have you on the program, sir. Hello.
Hey, Rush, how you doing? Long-time listener.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Hey, I have a point to make on the economy and why I don't believe that we're actually going to get out of this one, regardless of what extra effort anybody puts into it. And I think it clearly has something to do with liberal policy, but I think the bigger elephant in the room is going to be demographics. Every 80 years, you go through a demographic shift. Your most productive generations come to an end. All their productivity goes away with them. We just saw that in 2008. Now, granted, the subprime may have triggered all of that, but what really occurred is that essentially your big generation retires, and essentially you hit a plateau phase. During that plateau phase, you can offset it with stimulus, you can offset it with Fed intervention, with federal intervention, but at some point it all cleans up.
I'm not arguing with you. Everything on the books and everything planned by this administration makes economic growth look impossible. I don't disagree with you at all. The math doesn't add up. There's no incentive to work and so forth other than people's innate desire to define themselves by their work, which is strong in some cases. I agree with you. In just on paper, it doesn't seem any way possible, especially with what Obama's add-ons are going to be. Back after this, folks. Don't go away.
Limbaugh pointing the way on the EIB network. Now, something new yet familiar to everyone. It's Ron Artest.
Hey, no fool. Stop with the old school rap and bust it with the now. You gotta do representing for me, Ron Artest.
Word up to all peeps, some fresh tracks been laying down.
What up? This Ron Artest, busting out with the soft with some old school oldies with a fresh twist. Ain't no suspension long enough. There ain't no fines that are big enough. Ain't no jail term long enough to keep me from beating on you.
And I really mean hits.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Gonna find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You better not be dissing me, yo.
Spreading the love.
Peeps all over the world, join hands, make a love train or beat your brain.
True warrior even does Streisand.
Peeps. Peeps who beat other peeps are the happiest peeps in the world.
Ron Artest does the oldies with a fresh twist and a clenched fist.
He's a jolly good fella, and I'm a jolly good fella. We all jolly good felons, and if you don't agree, you'll die.
Getting real.
Baby, 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 where did my pay go? Endorsements done left me now. I need me a new loan, you know?
Ron Artest, oldies with a fresh twist. From Concussion Records.
Yeah, we put the con back in concussion.
Available at NBA games and bail bondsmen everywhere.
True that.
And now a word from the National Keep Our Own Kids Safe campaign about the danger of soccer.
I see soccer as not a violent sport. It's a symptom of violence, not really a cause of violence.
Keep Our Own Kids Safe national celebrity spokesman Rush Limbaugh.
Are you a paid member of the soccer lobby? There have been people in other endeavors of human activity who have known of inherent risks and have lied about them.
If anything, your words will serve only to embolden people's efforts to spread the sport of soccer, and I hope that doesn't incorporate an increased number of injuries and so on and so forth.
Well, me too. I can only bring the information to the people. If anger at me causes others to get more people into this game, I can't be held accountable for that.
I love the game, and I played a little bit of football as well, and I tell you, I would never take my chances on the football field.
And you took chances that you didn't even know you were taking on the soccer field, and that's my point. You didn't even know because they hid the data from us.
The last time I checked, I didn't have any brain damage. But
well, oftentimes victims are the last to know. You should ask your family members if there have been any changes.
Join Rush Limbaugh and help support the Keep Our Own Kids Safe campaign. Look for the Keep Our Own Kids Safe chapter near you. You'll find them everywhere. Now from the people who...
Okay, folks, that's it. Another exciting hour. Broadcast excellence on the way over to the Limbaugh Broadcast Museum. The virtual edition is at rushlimbaugh.com. If you haven't seen it, you really should. Also, well, 3 seconds. Enough time to say, hang on, we'll be back and continue without missing a beat.
Attention EIP affiliates. Stand by for the Rush Limbaugh promo feed. Copyright 2012. EIP Network. Start all recording devices in 3, 2, 1. Now.
Rush Limbaugh.
More Americans will use food stamps for Thanksgiving this year than ever before.
Rush.
You know, if as much effort were spent to challenge politicians to improve the economy so we would have more jobs, but we have more effort being expended teaching people how to let the government feed them than we do an effort being made to improve the economy so people can feed themselves. More Americans will use food stamps for Thanksgiving this year than ever before. You know, if as much effort were spent to challenge politicians to improve the economy so we would have more jobs, but we have more effort being expended teaching people how to let the government feed them than we do an effort being made to improve the economy so people can feed themselves. They want conservative Republicans to renounce the Christian right. They can't wait for it to happen.
The Rush Limbaugh Weekend Review.
And not for any reason other than they know that it would do great damage for any Republican candidate in his relationship with base voters. This is raw, pure politics. You take any candidate's base of support away from him, and there's no way he wins anything. Godfather of talk radio, El Rushmo, executing assigned host duties flawlessly. We go beyond the limit on this program, folks. There is no limit here because I have talent on loan from God. Okay, remember, every day, Christmas morning, here on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, we get to open up all kinds of presents.
The Rush Limbaugh radio program.
Did you people ever think there would be a talk show that would teach you so much?
This concludes the promo feed. Production directors everywhere. Be with us next time as we make your life easier on the EIB network. In the past, people who suffered from restless leg syndrome were thought to be unable to lead a healthy, productive life. But here at the Restless Leg Institute, we've helped literally thousands of victims of restless leg syndrome become independent and go on to live happy, successful, productive lives, like Rachel here. Her tap lessons have really changed things, opening doors to many opportunities she would have missed. Or take Matthew here by riding the stationary bicycle equipped with a 200,000 kilowatt generator. Matthew provides a safe, clean alternative energy source to the Institute and 32 surrounding homes. Are you tired yet, son?
No, sir.
Graduates from the Institute include Pele, Elvis Presley, and the entire cast of Riverdance. So if you or someone you know suffers from restless leg syndrome, tell them about the Restless Leg Institute before it's too late.
The EIB Network presents The Adventures of Robin Hood with Barack H. Obama as Robin.
Robin Hood, riding through the glen.
Today, we find Robin just finishing up another day at the office.
Come on, hand it over. All of it. Now go work hard, play by the rules, and come back and share your success with us again.
That's telling him, Robin.
You know, it's getting harder and harder to find good plumbers these days. So, what shall we do with the loot, man? Give it to the middle class?
You just took it from him, Robin.
Oh. Well, what do you say, Friar Wright?
I say we need to spread it around to each other. And then, if there's anything left...
Give it to the poor?
No, to Acorn.
I like the way you think, Friar Wright.
This has been a Rob the Rich production.
Every time the Dow drops, I feel more certain that you'll trust me. Every time you see me, you'll feel more certain that I care. Higher unemployment makes Rahm Emanuel so happy, pushing an agenda that otherwise would really scare.
Recession.
Best way to start.
Recession.
Warming my heart.
Recession.
You're trusting me. Every time you hear me, I'll say there may be no tomorrow. Unless I control the means of production, there will still be endless night. Media is with me, reporting all the awful sorrow. And it will be too late when you realize I wasn't right.
Recession.
Best way to start.
Recession.
Warming my heart.
Recession.
You're trusting me. So darling, if you love me, don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow.
I just have to laugh. I'm watching Fox here at the top of the hour break. They got Ed Henry, their White House reporter, and they're talking to Megyn Kelly. And the question is, will there be any spending cuts in the fiscal cliff? Come on. There will not be any spending cuts in the fiscal cliff. At best, there will be reductions in the rate of spending growth, if there is even that. But Obama won the election. The Republicans are in the cave profile. Why in the world would anybody think that they're going to be spending? Dick Durbin, the Democrats are all out there saying there's not going to be any entitlement reforms. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, not even on the table. So they're going to kick the can down the road. Not going to solve anything here. The best way to understand this fiscal cliff, don't look at it as a way to try to create economic growth, or this is more redistribution. It's higher tax rates on the middle class, not just the rich. Another big myth. Greetings, welcome back. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh here, the Excellence in Broadcasting Network and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. More on this in a moment. I'm going to give you a little think piece here, just a little stat. Byron York had a piece over the weekend at the D.C. Examiner. Said, yeah, the Republicans, if you want to focus on the Latino vote, go ahead, but you didn't lose the election because of it. And if you want to focus on the women under 30 vote, go ahead, but you didn't lose the election because of it. Interesting stat. More old white people, 65 and older, voted in the election than all the Hispanics or blacks combined. Romney still lost. This is not to say not make an effort, the Hispanic vote, but if you're going to go get the Hispanic vote as it exists today, there are certain things you're going to have to do, which we've talked about earlier in the program, folks. Family values to them is, by the way, here's another little secret. You start talking about cutting government, that scares the heck out of people because they think that means cuts in state government too. And believe me, when it comes to the left and people that vote Democrat, family values is not about abortion or contraception or same-sex marriage or any of that. Family values is about making sure the government is able to take care of the family. Now, Snerdley, you can shake your head all day long in there, all you want, but that's exactly what this election told us. And if people are not going to be willing to, you might say, well, we would have won if. Yeah, well, the ifs didn't happen. If there had been more people that voted, yeah, turnout was down. Wonder why? Why was turnout down? Obama could have been beaten. I don't want anybody to misunderstand here. Obama could have been beaten. The Republicans could have won this election. And now, as they analyze why they lost it, they're making the biggest mistake in the world in assuming that they have to go out and get the demographic vote that they lost, because there's only one way to get it, and that's stop being Republicans. Why do you think, I'm not meaning to yell here, why do you think the Democrats are so eager for Republicans to agree to amnesty? Why do you think the Democrats do you think the Democrats want to get rid of their voters? You think the Democrats want to share their voters with the Republicans? You think the Democrats want to help the Republicans? No, so why are the Democrats saying, you guys, you need to agree with us on amnesty. You need to agree with us on same-sex marriage. You need to agree with us on all these social issues. You better abandon what you. But why are they saying that? And the Republicans sound like they're eager to do that. They're going to come to all the wrong conclusions. Anyway, we're going to have lots of time to discuss all this, and I'm sure many of you want to weigh in on it when we get to the phones. There are other stuff out there as well, and I want to touch on here today as we get back to busy broadcasting. Jeff Zucker, as was expected, looks like he's going to get the CNN gig. Now, people, I've often believed that the best resume enhancement you can have as a liberal is to fail. They move you to the top. And they do it for a reason. They will never allow their ideology to be blamed for anything that goes wrong anywhere in the country, within their party, or anything else. So Jeff Zucker, basically, and I don't know Jeff Zucker, I don't dislike him, I don't like him, I don't know him. All I know is that when he ran NBC Universal, he ran them into the ground. You can take a look at what once was the NBC primetime behemoth, and you have to go back to the past to find it. He's now going to run CNN. They promote their failures in order to save their ideology. They are that proud of it. They're that confident. We, on the other hand, can't wait to get rid of our failures. In fact, even before they fail, if the left says they don't like people, like I mentioned in the last hour, when I challenged Snerdley, name for me a proud, happy, cheerful, confident conservative who believes it and will say it and talk about it unashamedly day in and day out. Sarah Palin. And look what happened to her. Now, it's natural that the left would despise her because they were afraid of her. The thing that I will go to my grave being angry about is what happened to her in her own party. I can't tell you how frustrated I got when I would run into average Republican voters. People not in politics is what I mean by average voters. Just citizens that vote Republican. They said, well, we got to get rid of Palin. Why? Well, look what the media's done to her. Oh, so you just want to sit there and let the media destroy our people. And once the media, yeah, well, that's a test for me. If they can't survive the media, they don't deserve to be. Oh, okay, so the media can determine our candidates. Is that what you're telling me? And they essentially said, yeah. They weren't willing to even speak up in defense of her because they thought it would make them sound stupid too. Since that's what everybody thought of Palin, since that was the image that was created for her, that she was stupid, not bright, that anybody defending her would be tarred the same way, and they didn't want that, so, okay, I'll throw her overboard. I've always been in a fight mode when it comes to the media, to not let them define us or determine who our champions are or any of that, because their objective is to destroy all the quality people on our side. They have our people acquiesce to it. I can't tell you how it bummed me out. Dan Rather, a total career embarrassment with the George Bush National Guard story. What happened? Tom Brokaw and the late Peter Jennings created a brand new award, some Lifetime Achievement in Plagiarism Award or whatever it was, and they gave it to Rather at a big dinner that got all kinds of publicity after Rather embarrassed himself because they had to save their industry. And they were willing to do it. They were willing to save the news business as it exists. They were willing to save Rather to do it. And they were willing, didn't matter if it looked like they were embarrassing themselves. They didn't care. They were saving liberalism, their ideology, saving their business, the news business. And they were saving Rather. What do? We don't try to save any of our, we just, look at the consultants, the Republican consultants who want to throw every conservative media person overboard now. So Jeff Zucker, who did succeed with the Today Show, but then they moved him, the Peter Principle got him. They moved him into the presidency of NBC Universal. It didn't go well. Now he's being hired to fix CNN, which is in the toilet. They protect their failures. They elevate them because they'll do whatever is necessary to save liberalism or socialism or whatever you want to call it. By the same token, look at Oprah. I have a story here from the New York Times. Oprah at a crossroads. The Oprah is scared because you know what's happened? The Oprah had her afternoon talk show, and it was thought that the Oprah owned America television. Nobody was close to the Oprah. Their ratings, business, revenue, all of that. And then the Oprah decided, after 25 years, that she was going to move on, and she retired from the show. And she started her own cable network called the OWN Network. And you need a magnifying glass. Hell, you need a telescope to find it. They're doing everything they can to save the Oprah. It's not easy to find a fresh way to photograph Oprah Winfrey. That's why the editors of O, the Oprah magazine, recently tried to create a shot that recalled the glory days of Oprah's syndicated talk show. They arranged a photographer for the April 2013 issue as she stepped on stage to speak to 5,000 attendees at the magazine's annual conference, a new age slumber party of sorts for women held at the convention center in Los Angeles last month. And when she confidently strode out dressed in a seafoam green V-neck dress. That isn't a seafoam green. That's a color I've always wanted to see people in. And a pair of perilously tall ruby red stilettos. The audience collectively leapt to its feet and shrieked at the sight of her. "I love you, Oprah," some women shouted, while other fans cried. "I love you back," said the Oprah. Ms. Winfrey, who used to receive this kind of applause from fans 5 days a week, has had fewer such receptions since her show ended 18 months ago. The cable network OWN, which she started with Discovery, is emerging from low ratings and management shakeups. Without a regular presence on daytime network TV, the Oprah cannot steer traffic to her other products as easily as in the past. Her magazine has experienced a decline in advertising revenue. Newsstand sales since the talk show finished have plummeted. She's still the Oprah, but she's still struggling, said Janice Peck, an associate professor of journalism and mass communication at the University of Colorado, who wrote a book in 2008 called The Age of Oprah. "I think the Oprah is scared," said Janice Peck, "even though she's very, very rich, and she's always going to be very, very rich. The possibility of failure is quite scary." So this whole New York Times piece is how the Oprah is not doing well in all of her ventures these days. But because she is a liberal woman of color, she is being saved. And she's being hyped as the most wonderful that's ever been. Folks, I'm telling you, the OWN network, when I say you need a telescope to find it, I am not exaggerating by much. They're out doing everything they can to save the Oprah, because in saving the Oprah, they save liberalism and they save the movement. And say, what, Snerdley? What's the question? What? How come Obama's not stepping in? Are you kidding? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The one thing about Barack Obama, he's not going to save anybody. If they fall overboard, they are on their own. He's not going to risk being plunged down with people on the way down. He's not going to risk it at all. That's if you don't understand that about the Obama, that's right. So if the Oprah has slipped overboard, you know, he's up there. Hey, Oprah. Huh. Oh, well, hope you get back up here. I'll be here when you get back. We love you. Hey, Oprah, you didn't build that. That's what this means. You didn't build that. And there are countless other examples like this. Jimmy Carter may be the worst president in history of the country, present company excluded, of course. Top seat Democrat convention. They do what they can to save Jimmy Carter because they got to save the party. They got to save the movement. And yet, you you know as well as I do, look at how quickly the Republicans couldn't wait to throw Sarah Palin overboard. Or any number of other conservatives that I could name for you. And as far as Obama, not only is he not helpful, he's not grateful. You could say that the Oprah helped give us the Obama. In fact, you could say, and you wouldn't be far wrong, that the beginning of the Oprah's plunge was when she went political and endorsed Obama, because up until then, all these women who watched the Oprah never thought of her in political terms. You and I thought they must be, but we were wrong. They did not think of her in political terms. That's been another big secret of the left. They've been able to do liberalism each and every day with people not thinking it's politics. But Oprah was nothing but pure New Age liberalism every day. Her audience never realized that until she endorsed Obama. Then they said, whoa, wait a minute. And that's when the decline of the Oprah began. It did, folks. And Obama, the Oprah's out there swimming in the ocean, barely afloat, and Obama's up on deck of the cruise ship looking down. Hey, Oprah, it's nice knowing you. Hey, watch out for that shark. Gotta take a break. Be back after this. Don't go away.
The wonder of Rush will continue on the EIB network.
A lot of us are not going to let that happen.
Ever wonder how Barbara Boxer keeps that uptight, uncomfortable look all day long? She's got her thong on. And now you can keep it uptight too. Celebrate spring with the environmental thong made with dried leaves, moss, and twigs. Or keep leaks to yourself with a dependable Pat Leahy model. It only leaks when you want it to. All our boxers are unisex and come in only one size, extra, extra small, for that uniquely uptight look that's so fashionable with your left-wing buddies. Now you too can look uptight and uncomfortable all day long. And if you ever feel a smile coming on, just cinch it up a little higher. Just ask Ron Reagan Jr. So just throw out the old boxers and get your thong on with the Barbara Boxer Thong Collection. Check out the Barbara Boxer Thong Collection wherever left-wing loonies are found. Now, an official announcement by our dear leader Barack Hussein Obama.
Every day, people all across America are spreading vicious stories and taking my name in vain. To get reelected, we must fight against the truth that blocks our way. That's why I created AttackWatch.com, a website devoted to shutting down the free expression of all subversive, counter-revolutionary ideas. A place where you can report those who spread rumors, nasty emails, and public utterances attacking me. If you love me, you'll turn in anyone engaged in these types of activity. Friends, family, associates, children, anyone.
If you're tired of hearing how President Obama single-handedly screwed up the economy, hijacked healthcare, mishandled foreign policy...
That's enough!
Drop the ball!
I'm turning you in!
Wanted old people to take a pill and fly!
AttackWatch.com. We're watching you.
Do you have a low IQ? Don't mix well in normal society? Feel like you don't fit in? Then join the ranks of the elite Federal Baggage Screeners Corps. We're hiring thousands of qualified applicants right now. Just pass our rigorous job placement exam.
Yep, this one's breathing.
And you're on your way to a successful career. Like Betty, an elderly widow who enjoys knowing what's in everyone's bag.
Why, just last week I found a pair of ladies' panties in a golf bag. Imagine that, a pair of panties in a golf bag.
Or perhaps you're a deranged loner with poor hygiene and grooming habits, like Larry.
I used to soil myself down at the bus station, but this is much better.
And if you have a really deep-seated emotional problem, you may be management material. So don't be afraid to call. Work for someone who appreciates you just as you are. The elite Federal Baggage Screeners Corps of America. Remember, America is counting on you. Now an important message from President Obama.
Yeah, I just saw I'm watching television here during the break. Apparently, a young student, a young girl with cerebral palsy, got off the school bus and was crossing the street to get in her parents' car for the ride home, and some guy starts walking behind her, imitating her. It happened in October. She doesn't know. I guess she was told. They're putting him in jail. The guy walking behind the girl with cerebral palsy, imitating her walk, is being put in jail. Probably next to the guy who did the video that Susan Rice maintains caused all the problems in Benghazi. And in America in 2012, both those people ought to be in jail. Damn straight. Damn right, put them in jail. Intimidation, exactly right. Intimidation, mockery, making fun of, making her cry, damn right, put him in jail. Don't even think about it. You watch, you'll see the video. You'll see this girl with cerebral palsy getting into her car. This guy gets off the bus, follow her, and making fun of her. It's an adult. That's even worse. An adult should have known better. Absolutely put him in jail. It was not his son. It was his son next to him. He was not imitating his son. It was somebody else's kid. Well, put the son in jail, too, for having the guts to walk next to his dad while his dad was doing this. Legalized marijuana in Colorado and Washington State. NPR has a story here. Legal pot is here, but... And they start speculating... And they mentioned, do you know that in the past, Philip Morris wanted to put marijuana in cigarettes, in tobacco cigarettes? They wanted to call it Marley. And Bob Marley, the Whalers estate, got mad. You can't do that. And they said, we're not naming it after you. We're thinking of Jacob Marley, the Dickens character, the Christmas Carol. That didn't fly. But I have a question for you, folks. Because there's a companion story someplace, Burlington, Vermont, I don't know where it is. They've banned smoking in buildings next to bars now. They banned smoking in buildings next to restaurants. And I'm just wondering, and of course they should do that in America 2012. Hell yes, they should do that. Now, would liberals end up loving big tobacco if big tobacco was allowed to put marijuana in cigarettes? Because it's coming. Marijuana will be legal in this. It's gay marriage. You never thought that would happen. It's going to happen, folks. And it could save the tobacco business.
Now, Bill Clinton and John Edwards reach out to all Republicans running for president.
Let's face it, sexual harassment in the workplace is wrong. And you have to know where to draw the line. Yeah, just a simple, seemingly innocent gesture on your part could be interpreted as an unwanted advance. An abuse of power by a person in authority. We all know for Democrats the following gestures are still acceptable. The thong snap. Bill. The career advancement question. How would you like to be my personal videographer? Or just a plain old game of guess who? But what are the rules for Republican candidates? You might do something that's not overtly sexual, but could get you in hot water. Like making the OK sign. That hole could signify anything. A thumbs up. Part of your body sticking straight up in the air? I don't think so. And the same goes for that we're number one thing, too. And never ever put your hands near your chin. I still don't know what that means, but I'm going to find out. John, I think somebody needs you. No, it's not mine.
Hey, John, do you have any more diapers?
Why, sure. Right over there beside the Bible in my briefcase. Sexual harassment. It's a tricky business.
If you got a hankering for something a little bit on the wild side for dinner tonight, then you need to check out Girl Cafeteria. Girl Cafeteria, where you choose your favorite critter from our tank. Let us serve it up any way you like it. Then, while you enjoy your meal, we'll fashion its pelt into any one of a number of designer items. You might try our delicious raccoon-a-roni, or how about a nice hot bowl of chinchilli?
I just had the muskrat. Delicious. And I got this great pair of gloves.
My kids and I had the turtellini. Got an entire set of neat salad bowls.
And if you like your critter really fresh, you might try our convenient drive-thru.
It's all right, honey. Just eat around the tire track.
And the kids are sure to love Girl Cafeteria.
Hey, Billy, how's that possum?
Awesome.
Girl Cafeteria. You choose it, we kill it. You wear it home. Next to the animal shelter on Highway 92.
Most Americans don't realize that kids are a real drag on the economy. And that's why Nancy Pelosi, as part of the Obama stimulus package, is releasing her new DVD, Don't Do It, with helpful advice from Nancy about contraception for young adults.
After you have applied the glue and the staples, take the condom and apply it to the cucumber gently like this.
Oh, let's just hold hands.
Okay.
As part of the recovery package, the Don't Do It DVD will be required viewing in fertility clinics nationwide.
Motherhood is a wonderful thing, but are you sure you want to bring another child into this world during a recession? What's its carbon footprint? Remember, if your child eats, somewhere another child goes hungry.
When Nancy's Don't Do It DVD is broadcast nightly across the country, it'll be guaranteed to give everyone a headache and couples more cash to stimulate the economy.
Oh no, she's pole dancing again. Let's just go to the mall.
Okay.
So if you're in the mood, try Nancy Pelosi's Don't Do It DVD, the most effective contraceptive ever.
Okay, back to the phones. This is Dennis in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hi, Dennis. You're on the EIB network. Hi.
Hey, Rush, how you doing? I can't believe I'm talking to 1/4 of my perfect golf foursome. Hey, wanted to make a couple of points here. I'm just afraid our guys have already caved. I don't think they really understand what liberalism is. To your point about true conservatism, I think that at one point our senator was a true conservative, but when he goes on MSNBC with Chris Matthews and Joe Klein and starts talking about all options are on the table, really bothers me.
You're talking about Tom Coburn?
Tom Coburn, yeah, the senator from Oklahoma. When was the last time we saw any of the liberals on any of the talk shows talking about spending decreases?
Well, look, your instinct on this is right. The Republicans right now, Dennis, are shell-shocked. The Republicans really thought that Romney was going to win the election, and I think they thought it was going to be fairly sizable. Not landslide, but there were a lot of people who thought Romney was going to win. As a result, the Republicans are now shell-shocked. They are believing that every core principle they have has been rejected by a majority of the American people. And a politician's job is to get reelected first and to spend money second. That's their job. So that's why you're hearing from the Republicans all the things they think they've got to do in order to get the votes that they lost to Obama. So they got to get the illegal immigration vote. That's amnesty. They've got to get the welfare state vote. That's, supporting bigger government welfare. They don't, there's no There's no impetus right now in the Republican Party to buck up and to embark on an educational process to the American people. It's just not how Republican politics works. The Democrats, by comparison, when they lose, you never, ever hear a single Democrat say, you know what, maybe we're going to have to abandon amnesty. You know what, maybe we're going to have to abandon our pro-abortion position. They never, ever, publicly or privately, say anything like that. Their objective is to conduct an even more fervent assault on the voters for voting against them. So that's just where we are. Of course there isn't going to be entitlement reform. My question would be, A, why does anybody think there will be? Who won the election? Barack Obama and the Democrats. Do they believe in entitlement reform? No. Do they think that the entitlements should be made smaller and that government should get smaller? No. Who lost the election? The Republicans. What power do they have? They have the House of Representatives, and that's it. They don't have the Senate. They don't have the White House. They're not looking at their position as being in any way, shape, manner, or form one of strength. What do you mean, Rush? The parameters of the deal were going to be entitlement. Parameters of what deal? The so-called balanced approach? Who is they? Okay, so Obama and the Democrats said that we're going to, the fiscal cliff, they're going to a balanced approach, and balanced means we're going to have some spending cuts along with revenue enhancements. Right. Well, I'm sorry. I don't believe a word the Democrats say, particularly when they start talking about balance or spending cuts. They may say it, they don't believe it, and it isn't going to happen. Not the current configuration, not with Obama in the White House, not even 3 weeks after winning. Why in the world does anybody think Obama's going to give anything away 3 weeks after winning the election? Why does anybody think Obama is in a weakened position after winning elections? Why does anybody think that we are in a more powerful position after losing the election? So what are we going to do? Well, we can do our best to hold tight on no tax increases. But, I mean, I've seen Republicans here and there say, well, yeah, we're going to have to look at the revenue side of things. That's no question about that. Yes, there is a question, because the revenue side of things isn't the problem. The spending side of things is the problem. But we didn't win, folks. The people that believe in no limits on spending did. The American people don't want any limits on spending. Here, let me say, 2 stories here. I find this fascinating. We've got a Rasmussen survey on their Rasmussen Consumer Index. Investor confidence drops below consumer confidence for the first time since March of 2009. For the first time since March of 2009, the Rasmussen Investor Index is now lower than the Rasmussen Consumer Index. So the investors are not as confident as the goofy consumers are. Well, that's one. Now, Gallup. You see this and you just throw your arms up and you say, what do? For the first time in Gallup trends since 2000, a majority of Americans say it is not the federal government's responsibility to make sure that all Americans have health care coverage. Prior to 2009, a majority always felt the government should ensure health care coverage for all, though Americans' views have become more divided in recent years. So, first time in 12 years. First time in 12 years after the American people re-elected a guy who wants single-payer health care coverage. Gallup says the majority of Americans don't think the government should be in charge of it. Now, what are we to make of this? Because the majority of voting Americans just voted for single-payer health care coverage. Whether they know it or not, they voted for Obamacare. They voted for the guy who wrote it, gave it to it, well, sponsored it, what have you. But now we got a poll. When was the poll taken? Let me see what it doesn't. I don't know if this was before or after the election. I'm scanning this very quickly here. I can't tell. Anyway, what do you make of this? I mean, all you can do is laugh at it. Okay, majority of Americans oppose federal health care guarantee for the first time. Too bad. You just voted for it, you idiot. Be right back.
Listen to what the left doesn't want you to hear. Rush on the EIB Network. Now America's most scintillating talk show, The Tom Daschle Show.
Tom Daschle! Hi, and welcome to The Tom Daschle Show. I'm Tom Daschle. Recently, I've experienced some life changes which have allowed me to take the plunge. Yes, I'm now officially a full-time talk radio host right here on the internet. Tom Daschle! We're simulcasting from our flagship 250-watt powerhouse right here on the reservation in Little Bear. Our trusted engineer tells me that our 2.5-bit streaming audio is sounding great today. So you shouldn't experience any problems listening today. I want to go back to the question we've been dealing with. Why did the Democrats lose the election? From Tennessee, it's Al again.
Hello, Tom. You know, I was just thinking this morning, since I came closer to winning in 2000 against George Bush, I'm uniquely qualified to say that if I had chosen to run this time, my semester at Divinity School would have come in pretty handy in dealing with the insurgent evangelicals.
I think that's enough. Everybody knows you flunked out of Divinity School, Al.
I chose to flunk out.
And we're going to choose another caller here. James from Louisiana. Hello, James.
I'm telling you, this party must be born again.
So we should repent of our past evil ways and follow the truth?
Heck no, I wasn't born yesterday. I'm just saying we need a new hula dance with a religious grass skirt.
Oh, I see. Like Jimmy Carter.
I am ready to accept your accolade.
James, you sound...
Do not doubt me.
This caller seems to be on every line.
I'm ready to accept your apologies for doubting me.
Let's go to a break.
Do not doubt me. Sorry, I did it again.
See ya. Let's go to a break. You're listening to Tom Daschle! Daschle right here on the Tom Daschle Show on the internet.
Out of the Old West comes a new twist from the producers of Brokeback Mountain. Remakes of your favorite Western classics, destined to be Oscar contenders, like How the West Was Festive, Paint My Wagon, and the golden classic, He Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
What, oh chief, can I give you as a token of our friendship?
Me take 'em beads.
Never! They match my hat and my boots.
You'll never forget the boyfriends of Bobby Elder, the magnificent Stephen, or the man who spanked Liberty Valance.
Well, what are you trying to say, Pilgrim?
I want you to be my partner.
Come on, America. Join Hollywood this year as we continue to make fun of ourselves with the first in a series of new Western classics. Watch for them coming soon from the producers of Brokeback Mountain.
Spank me, Liberty! Spank me!
Attention Newsweek readers, there's never been a better time to receive or renew your subscription to Newsweek.
Wow, I haven't read that liberal rag in years.
What if we told you about our new amazing subscription offer that not only guarantees you'll have an entire year of Newsweek delivered right to your door, but it also makes you a publishing magnate?
Okay, I'm game.
For only $19.99, you'll receive an entire year of the slightly slanted news coverage, opinion, and interviews you'd expect from Newsweek.
I'm not sold yet.
And by checking our special Buy the Magazine box on the bottom of your subscription card, we'll give you the entire magazine for only $1.
Yeah, I'm getting a year's worth of the magazine.
No, you're taking the entire Newsweek operation, staff, printing press, and our debt.
Newsweek, huh? Hey, you got a deal on Playboy?
For this amazing Newsweek offer, call 1-800-BROKE-RAG. That's 1-800-BROKE-RAG. Newsweek, another failed institution of the liberal media.
That Gallup poll, by the way, was conducted after the election. The one where a majority of Americans don't want the government running health care. November 15th through the 18th. After the election. Go figure. It just goes, the polling sample did not reflect the turnout sample. Is what that means. By the way, the most recent 2-if-by-T gigantic sweepstakes where you, the winner gets to pick anywhere in the continental U.S. he wants to go for 3 days and 2 nights. We have that winner. We called the winner last night. It's in Vacaville, California. Right, not far from my adopted hometown of Sacramento. And the winner was not home, so Catherine and I left a message on the voicemail. And they're always risky because they never believe it's really me. But we did. And I want to thank everybody that entered. You can check all of our former winners on our Hall of Patriots page at 2ifbyt.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an incredible community. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea from today's program. There's a... Well, no, you know me, mayor of Realville. There's some things, hard, cold reality that we're going to have to deal with if we're going to turn this around. And it will get turned around. The question is when and how. And whatever, do not discount, ladies and gentlemen, the notion of how historic twists pop up in second terms, in presidential second terms, historic twists of the unexpected could be just around the bend. Now, given this guy's luck, it could well be that his second term be one of the greatest in history. Who knows? And the guy that did the video might actually be executed. Which the American people would support, of course. And Susan Rice will be confirmed to the United Nations, or the Secretary of State. I'm laughing at that, too. We didn't have a chance to discuss that. But here's Lindsey Graham and McCain saying, even more concerned after this. Apparently, we're dealing here, folks, with a real no business being there kind of person, which is also typical of this regime. But what I was going to say, there's an incredible community of freedom-loving people like you and me assembled all over this country called Freedom Works. Now, the name of their group is a double entendre that's intentional. Freedom Works. They do believe in freedom, and they know that it works to better mankind. And they regularly inform and empower Americans to mobilize for what they believe in. Lower taxes, limited government, free enterprise. That's what this group does. They've not given up. Nobody on this side has given up. They are retrenching and retooling. They did everything they could. They want you to join them. You will not ever see the people at Freedom Works go soft on what they believe in. They hear the same things you hear. Beltway insiders calling on conservatives to wave the white flag, but that's not who they are at Freedom Works. Even after a tough election, they stay the course. They stay dedicated to their core values because they know that their orientation toward liberty, economic and personal liberty, works. Freedom Works is on the front lines of the battle against big government. Be thankful that they are there. While there might be talk of caving in or conceding in other parts of the political culture, not at Freedom Works. They've got a website, freedomworksforme.com. You can see all they have to offer. And you want to get involved. If you're fit to be tied, you want to get involved and try to affect positive change, check it. Maybe for you. freedomworksforme.com. This is John in Wellington, Florida. Great to have you on the program, sir. Hello.
Yeah, hey, many ditto rushes. How you doing?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, some of the people, this earlier you were talking about, these people up north having, trouble and stuff. It's like us down in here when we had all those storms. Christ, nobody was around to help us but our neighbors. And, that's what we did. I mean, we had, people's houses banging into other people's houses. And,
John, let me tell you, it's an absolutely brilliant comment. It's, I wish I had more callers like you.
You got to take care of yourself and your neighbors.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
The candles, the batteries, the generators.
That's exactly. See, folks, let me tell you how smart this guy is. Let me tell you, he is so far above the rest. Let me tell you what I think he's saying. He heard me earlier talk about the Nick Kristof column in the New York Times. Nick Kristof was unhappy that some people during Hurricane Sandy had home generators that they bought themselves, and that other people didn't. And Nicholas Kristof was upset that the reason why some people had home generators is because tax rates for the rich are too low and because of global warming. And he didn't think it was fair. So we got to raise taxes on the rich and go into global warming so that nobody has a generator during a power failure. And what John here is saying, well, I thought these Northerners were so smart. How come they don't have generators? When we get a hurricane, we've all got generators. We don't have to worry about not having power. We will. See, and it's a brilliant question. And John, let me answer the question for you. Based on what Nick Kristof's column said, many people apparently were waiting for Governor Christie to show up with generators for them. And for Mayor Bloomberg to show up with generators for them. No, that's true. Kristof did write a column. He said the reason it's not fair that some people should have generators, and the reason that they do is because tax rates for the rich are too low, and we haven't done enough on global warming. And it's not fair that the rich can just opt out of the grid when the grid fails, when not everybody else can. Anyway, folks, I got to go. Be back to wrap it up after this.
Rush Limbaugh, simply fascinating on the EIB network. Now a message from President Barack Obama on how he plans to help Americans cope with higher gasoline prices.
My fellow Americans, I'm sure that you, like most Americans, are feeling pinched economically by higher gas prices at the pump. Recent political events in the Middle East have destabilized oil-producing nations, disrupting supply, raising prices, and calling into question America's dependence on foreign oil. As president, I would have preferred a gradual adjustment, but I can't do anything about the high cost of gasoline. But you can. Buy the all-new Chevrolet Volt, Government Motors' first full production electric car for just under $50,000. Consumer Reports said it was the only electric car that GM makes, and that it was capable of going up to 28 miles in the snow. And you can extend that range by taking along an optional 400-pound second battery.
Yes, you can buy an electric car that's slow, fuel-efficient, American-made, and more expensive than a Toyota Prius, even after a $7,500 tax credit.
The Chevrolet Volt. Last month we sold over 281. Who knows how many more we'll sell if gas prices reach an optimum of, say, $15 a gallon.
The Chevrolet Volt. Buy here, buy now.
Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels Jihad Journal.
Now, a message of
Folks, it's exciting to be back. It's always a thrill to be here with you. It's an honor and a privilege as well. And I can't believe it's already Wednesday. I mean, the fastest week in media, already 3 down and 2 to go. We'll be back tomorrow, 21 hours to do it all over. And I get to the story about the war on men that I didn't have time to get to today.